Do you wish you could get virtual attendees to turn their cameras on? Is engagement the number one issue on your virtual meetings? Do you want your meeting to be the most engaging virtual meeting? Well, welcome to the Engaging Virtual Meetings podcast. In this podcast, we'll talk to the top people around the world in virtual meetings and give you, the listener, the best ideas to host engaging virtual meetings. Make sure that you click subscribe so you can get the latest episode of the Engaging Virtual Meetings podcast. Now, let's welcome your host, the author of the #1 Amazon hot new release, Engaging Virtual Meetings, John Chen. All right, it's John Chen. Welcome from Seattle. You made it to another Friday. Happy weekend, TGIF. Two big things happened over the last week. On last Friday, I was the lead producer for Learnapalooza, the top conference in innovation and disruption in the learning and development. Ran a 3 hybrid setup. Amazing, 3 different rooms, 3 complete different computer setups. We got the comments back that people said it was the most engaging hybrid they have ever attended. In addition to that, then on Wednesday, ran a meeting with the city of Seattle called the Business Resource Open House, and a collaboration with Minnesota was able to put together a panel where half of the panel was in Seattle and half of the panel was in Minnesota. It was interpreted into 5 languages, had a live captioner, and ran ASL, or American Sign Language. One of the most inclusive and technically advanced meetings that I've run. Hey, if you're out there, do us a favor, smash the button, click subscribe, share, like, comment wherever you're at, and feel free to ask a question. We'll be looking for you as we engage. And of course, speaking of engagement, I'm going to just give you this invitation. The Engaging Conference, one of my hallmark events of the year. We're going to be sharing the secrets of planning engagement for conferences, summits, or masterclasses, October 23rd through the 25th. You can register here. Just go to the website, engagingvirtualmeetings.com/CON for conference, and you'll get to meet these 10 amazing people, well, 9 plus me, and you'll get a chance to really learn from them. I've really selected 10 different people to share the secrets of engagement around how to do this on virtual, hybrid, or in person. So excited for that. Speaking of which, speaking of engagement, I've got my guest here today. My guest here wrote the book, Epic Life. He's connecting visionaries to serve humanity. He was a past member of Entrepreneurs Organization. Let's bring in the one and only Justin Breen. Hey, Justin. Welcome.
Yeah, 1970s. I love it.
Welcome to the show. We were talking a lot about the 1970s. What was something else? Oh, the television show To Tell the Truth. Do you remember that show where somebody would go, right, will the real somebody please stand up?
And then one fakes standing up, then one almost gets up and then sits down, and then the actual person who stands up. I was born in 1977, so I don't really remember that much of the 70s. But other than there were a lot of big hair.
Well, beautiful. All right. Well, besides big hair, I see you got the hat of abundance today on. Tell us a little bit more, Justin. For my friends who don't know you, tell us who you are and what you do.
Well, I'm really excited to be here. How your brain works technically, and using things backstage to make them look cool front stage. That's literally the exact opposite of how my brain works. I just like to see things in space and connect people. So like holding a pencil right is really hard for me, and anything technical is really hard for me. So I've always thought weaknesses become strengths. So really, all I do all day is one of 2 things. One, spend time with my family. My wife is a pediatrician and COO of Second Company. And then our sons are 9 and 11. They're both visionary maniacs like me. So I'm either spending time with them or connecting top visionaries on planet. So that's all I do all day.
Fantastic. I know I have 3 kids. I'm in that stage where they're all out of the house now. Although I see, are those books or is that something else on your right? Is that all their names? I see a Justin, a
Mm.
Sarah, a Jake.
Yeah, we have to add an uh yeah, so the top four are humans. Although people like us are usually aliens within our own family community and vertical. So like I guess I'm kind of a human. My wife is a full stabilizing human, and then our sons are, excuse me, combination of my visionary, whatever this is, and then my wife's stabilizing human. And then the two below are our first two dogs. And we just got a third, Mr. Beans Breen. So gonna have to add another one to that. But yeah, so I'm either hanging out with the actual people, the people there listed, and
Beautiful.
or talking to people like us, and then connecting them, and then creating two companies based on that purpose. So it's a lot of fun doing that all day, every day.
Classic underachiever, Justin.
Well, it's an interesting thing. So you're a simplifier. And then all I do is talk to people like us, and I hear blah, 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 and then simplify into patterns. And then every now and then you take these patterns, and then you see your own pattern out of it. I think that's the key to life, is recognizing the pattern. So
Hmm.
I was thinking about this during my run today. We're in Chicago area. We're in the Chicago area. And for the last 20 years, I've run 6 days a week outside, no matter the weather condition. So like 3 to 5 miles.
Hmm.
Then you listen to really good content during that. And then if I ever have a great idea, it's almost always, or a new pattern, it's always during those runs. And so what an entrepreneur actually is, a visionary, not a human or business owner, but a visionary is the most damaged person with the best coping skills. So all I do is talk to visionaries, and then most of the people I talk to are three of the following four things, and then the really successful ones are all four. So the four things are bankruptcy or potential bankruptcy, two, depression, three, highest level of anxiety that you can imagine, and four, likely and or possible traumatic experiences as a child or young adult. So for humans, business owners, those are excuses. And then for visionary, figure it out. That's what separates visionaries from humans. And then I always used to think the pattern was that those four things are the shield for the trauma, the damage. They're the shield for the but then today during the run, I'm like, oh, what they actually are as well is they're like a shield for a warrior going out into battle. So like how you started this video with whatever you actually do, that's your shield to go out into battle, because like that's your way of like attracting clients or collaborators. It's your way of going out and hunting.
Hmm.
It's your shield. And that's what people like us are. We're hunters in a farmer's world. So like whatever our companies are, they're just shields to cover the trauma and damage, but also to go out in battle to find other warriors. I mean, that's literally what it is. So I was really interested thinking
Well,
about that.
warriors always have to go out with friends. I just want to give a shout out to my friend Nicole Smith, who's watching us on Facebook Live. So thank you for that. Justin, tell me more. This sounds like some of these are the key or core concepts behind Epic Life. What was the genesis for this book? And maybe you're calling it a movement called Epic Life.
You're tremendous simplifier. Your brain. And then again, so all I do is talk to people like us, and most of them are ADD all over the place. It's not a disorder. It's a sign of genius mislabeled by humans. And then my wife, who is a doctor, is unofficially diagnosed me with minor Asperger's, so like ultra focus, lack of social cues. And then I talk to a lot of visionaries with dyslexia. And then everyone I talk to has exceptionally high IQ and or EQ. Like there's no, have you ever gotten your IQ?
I have not, but my dad was clocked at 180.
Okay. And he had a family?
He was a doctor.
I mean, was your mom a stabilizing human with like the kindest person on the planet?
Oh, like beyond. She was the
Okay.
person
Yeah,
she
because
could talk
otherwise
to
he'd have
anybody.
no, yeah, otherwise he'd have no chance at any
Yeah.
human. Yeah. So, okay. So, like, all I do is talk to people like us, and oh, here's the answer. And then, oh, wow, was he married to a stabilizing human who was kind? Yes. How did you know that? Well, so you see the answer. And then again, you create your own pattern, which I thought, again, was really interesting with the shield thing. I really think that's what entrepreneurship is. It's literally a shield. Okay. But so, anyway, like, the reason for the book was the formula for creating a successful global company is it's the same formula is you see a problem, create solution, problem solve, successful global company. And then how I learn is in real time situations like this. So I think what you said was better, that it's a movement. Like, that's, I mean, a successful global company or successful global movement, it's the same formula. See a problem, create solution. So I talk to 1 to 2 people like us every single week. All I do is talk to visionaries. So 1 to 2 every week that have let entrepreneur life destroy their family life or prevented them from having a family or multiple divorces. So I'm like, well, that's a bad idea. Don't do that. So Epic Life is how to build collaborative global companies while putting your loved ones first. So that's why I wrote it.
And did you see it, or is it based in a personal story or based on observing your friends or all of the
Tremendous.
above?
Tremendous. So um here's how my brain works. So
Mhm.
I wrote the actual book in 16 days.
Ooh.
Writing a book is not hard. However, to get the ideas where I could write the book in 16 days, it took almost 2 years, because what happens is I talk to people like us, and then maybe once or twice a month, they'll say something that's really transformational. Like I know it's a great idea, and then that'll become a chapter in the book. So if there's 30 chapters or whatever there, 29 are from other people. I think maybe one is from me, but yeah, it's really from talking top people on planet and simplifying the best things into a chapter.
Well, I tell a story, Justin, where over the pandemic, the publisher asked me to rush the book, and I finished it in 9 weeks. But your
Mhm.
16 days is, I've heard other authors. Sometimes it's like the inspiration is what I tell sometimes people. It's like the Jerry Maguire moment. Do you remember that
Oh
movie?
yeah, of course. Yeah.
He writes his quote unquote manifesto, and he does it
Yes.
like overnight. And so if you get inspired in the right way,
100%.
writing doesn't have to take a long time, but you do kind of have to. I think in those 16 days, you probably got in the focus zone, right, Justin?
So unlike almost everyone I talk to, I am not ADD.
Hmm.
So I am hyper focused in general. My entire life is spotting or finding and talking to people like us, learning from people like us, finding the best patterns. And then more importantly, which is why your question is good, is that actually following through on it, actually seeing it, but then actually doing something
Right.
about it. So no, I mean, if I don't do that many things. Like, I spend time with my family and I connect people like us to people like us. So being focused on writing a book, that's a natural byproduct of like every pattern that I see in general. But again, I'm very low in ideation. So to get enough great ideas, it takes time. It takes a lot of time.
Yeah, that gestation time. So
Great,
it's like
perfect word, gestation. Yeah,
people talk about that like the best 20-year overnight success. So that's
100%.
right, the way you
Well,
process. So
so what you just said. So I was a journalist for 20 years, created an entire first business based on how PR firms annoyed me for 20 years. 20 years of being annoyed. I mean, but that's logical.
oh, I see, the communications company. Okay, so what about this then? So a good, if you have a good solid basis in communication, then right,
Mhm.
Justin, what happened to you in March of 2020, and what
Hmm.
has to happen in a virtual meeting for it to be engaging for you?
Great. I'm so glad to be doing this interview, because if it's helpful as context, I think the journey that I'm on is such a representation, a template for what, yeah, thank you for nodding for those who can see. But like, I
Mhm.
think it's the template for how I think many companies will be built and created moving forward. Um, so just as very quick background, my partner for second company, I'm in Chicago. My partner is in San Francisco. We met virtually in a virtual meeting.
Hmm.
We have met in person twice since
Wow.
starting the company. One was at launch party. One was at launch party for the company, and then the second time was my wife and I went to visit my partner, whose name is Mark Fujiwara, and his wife in San Francisco for dinner.
Hmm.
Other than that, we've never met. We've never met in person.
In person, yeah.
So just going back to March 2020 to what you asked, like I think besides having the right mindset, like no excuses, no excuses at the highest level. So besides that, I think March 2020 is the biggest reason why not only have one successful global company, but now two. Like the second one never would have happened for sure. And then the first one would never have gone as global so quickly.
Hmm.
So that's the biggest, besides right mindset and having married to a stabilizing human, thank God, who's COO of the second company now. That's the biggest reason why I have, just had all this quote unquote success. So that's the first thing.
Yes.
The second thing is our company is essentially LinkedIn for visionaries, high price point, invite only connectivity platform mastermind. Okay.
Okay.
So literally based on how you serve people, our meetings are well, we're doing this in October. So currently we have 2 virtual meetings, 90-minute meetings a month for members.
Hmm.
Starting November, we will have 3 virtual meetings per month.
Hmm.
And then we're planning our first, well, it's getting planned, but we have the dates. Then the first actual big in-person meeting, there'll be 1 a year, maybe more as we evolve, but so it's almost all virtual, We have members from Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, India, Canada. We'll have Australian folks. We have UK. So it's all virtual.
Now, how do you bring value to it, though? You have obviously these, high-end people, and their time is precious. How do you run the meeting in such a way that they come away and say,
Tremendous.
"This is
Okay.
worth time and money and resources"?
So that's a great landing the plane question. And usually landing the plane questions really annoy me, but that's a good one. Okay. So I'll simplify that into patterns because that's what my brain does. Okay. So again, people like us are usually aliens within our own family, community, and verticals. The only people that understand us are top entrepreneurs on planet. So top entrepreneurs on planet do not want to hang out with business owners, consultants, humans. Not in this type of session because it's a one-way conversation into nothing. So visionaries gladly invest to be in rooms where people understand what they're talking about. I spent most of my life talking to people who had no idea what I was talking about because people like us are usually aliens. So just created a room, and then I invest over 100K a year US in masterminds because I need to be around people. I need to be around people that understand what I'm talking about, and I can actually learn something. And then again, the key to life is you see the patterns and you create your own patterns. So you just create your own room with your own rules. And our room doesn't really have rules at all, which is great.
So you're saying that the audience, for starters, is the value where,
100, that's it. So,
right?
okay, yeah. So a visionary, that's what they want. So a business owner cares about, here's again, business owner, consultant, humans. This is what they care about.
Hmm.
Revenue, office space, employee count, whatever, I don't know, paycheck. That's fine. So they're trying to change their world. Their visionary, true visionary cares about purpose, spending time with loved ones,
Yes.
connectivity. They're changing the world. It's a fundamentally, it's like someone going out into the world with a shield so they can protect everyone else. It's what it is.
I'm just rewatching Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman 84, where she has
Yeah,
the big wings as shields, right?
that's what it is. I mean, again, like it's what so, and then the purpose of my life used to be connecting superhero for every visionary who shares their stories with the world. So connecting superhero, Wonder Woman, whatever. And then now it's just connecting visionaries to serve humanity because that's simpler. And then you just keep evolving it. So
What a great mission. So now, if you're one of your top sort of superpowers is seeing patterns,
Yeah.
I'm curious now that you've seen the transformation of virtual and or hybrid,
Hmm.
what do you think
Uh,
the future of virtual is, maybe from your perspective or your view?
Okay. Okay. So again, I spend most of my day with my family or talking to top visionaries on planet, and then invest over 100K in rooms with like Abundance 360. This is the top tech. This is the top AI, like the smart like Caltech level brains. A
Hmm.
lot of 170, 180 IQ. Okay, so I spend my time constantly in rooms like that, in person, mostly virtually, by the way. Okay,
Hmm.
so just giving you that context, because this isn't just pie in the sky. This is like people I hang out with and then what I see.
Hmm.
Okay, so all this tech stuff, it's wonderful, it's great. I'm very thankful for it. I mean, I met my wife online in 2004, the day before she started medical school. So like that was our first date. So like I'm endlessly grateful for this.
Yeah.
Um, I guess technically that's a virtual meeting, a virtual chat. I guess it is. There was no picture then, but it was a chat. So think about that. But okay, so there are two things that will fundamentally never change. Never. They will fundamentally never change because this is our world. This is how our world always will be and always is. So one is the power of real human relationships. So right here, this is a real human relationship. That's all. I mean, we're meeting however we're meeting, but it's a real human relationship. And
Yes.
the people listening or watching, it's real humans, I think. And even if it's not, there's a human somewhere behind the fake human. But
Yeah.
okay, so that's one. And then two, the power of storytelling. We're a globe of storytellers, hieroglyphics, Bible, Constitution, cave paintings. I don't know, whatever all that stuff is. So all this stuff and all this, the virtual meetings, all that stuff, all it will do is create better real human relationships and better storytelling. That's what, because all this is better storytelling, what we're doing right now. And it's a better human relationship because you don't have to get all stressed and go, leave your family and get into a car and then get on an airplane, which probably don't want to do. If you're happy at home, why would you want to go anywhere else? So
Well, I
this is a
love the
perfect
power.
example.
I love this power of real human relationships. Again, my good friend Terry Stamulus is watching now too. She's part of
Mhm.
a destination management. What was it? There was an awards that she involved me in. But the power of real human relationships
Yeah,
is what I love. What I love to tell people, Justin, is that we're humans. We are designed to connect.
fairly human, but human, yes.
Well, or maybe we're alien, but we're still in whatever piece of them that we're designed to connect.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
even in this virtual part where people said they felt so disconnected, if you even study some of the quantum physics part, that we have the ability to feel connected to anybody around the
That's
world.
how I see things in space.
Yeah,
Exactly.
somewhere else. They could be totally somewhere else. But if they have a connection, like right now, we have this video or audio connection
Yeah.
that we can create a real human connection.
Oh,
It's timeless and or not distance bound and not touch bound.
do you mind if I double down on that?
Yeah, go.
So like my favorite pattern favorite pattern anyway, but it's based on what you just said anyway. But so right mindset attracts right network, creates right opportunity. So a virtual meeting is just a radio opportunity to project that right mindset, which attracts right network and creates right opportunities. That's what it is. It's
And
just a transportation device.
well, and now, yes, it enables us without having to do all the logistically parts, right? Rental car, plane, and things like
Right.
that. Again, Justin and I clicked a button, and now we can
Hello.
transport ourselves around the world, and it's gotten
Yeah.
so much better and so much easier and so much more real than in
Right.
the early stages when the technology was not that good. The second piece I want to add on here, something I really advocate, is that power of storytelling. And maybe that's the
Right.
power of visionaries is they're telling a story that doesn't yet exist, but they're convincing
Mm.
people that it's real and
Fantasy.
it's going to be real. And so, one of the things I shared today in a class, Justin, with National Speakers Association Illinois near you,
Mm.
was 8 tips that I got from Elizabeth Gilbert. She wrote the book Eat, Pray, Love that sold 16 million copies so that people were attracted to this idea. And what I shared was she had one of the most engaging keynotes in the last 3 years, and she did no other tech besides what we're doing here, having a camera and a mic on.
Right.
What was so astounding about it is that she used storytelling so much so that somebody 38 minutes into a 45-minute keynote wrote in the chat and said, I feel like I'm having a one-on-one conversation
Right.
with Elizabeth Gilbert at an Italian cafe.
Yes.
And there were 650 people online, Justin. And so,
Intimate.
right, that's the ultimate power of storytelling when you have really mastered it, is that it feels like a one-on-one conversation, although you are going one to many.
One to many. It's intimate in it's a big small world of intimacy. And then if I'm so and again, like nothing annoys me more than someone just talking at you. And then so like I mean, back when I was in human world and corporate, go to a lot of meetings of people talking about into nothing. But so like another value of virtual Zoom meetings or whatever, or however, whatever platform. If I'm bored with the person telling the story or the story, then I just have a side chat with someone else in the room. I mean, that's literally how I met my partner for second company. I was just bored with whatever was being said. So I just started talking to him, and then it was like we were separated at birth, and then we met one-on-one.
I say the same thing too, Justin. I do most of my best networking in the last 3 years was private chat. And that's why I tell
100%.
people make sure and enable that, because they're at least still engaged.
Wait. Why would you not know? Why would someone not?
Oh,
Yeah, not in my world. No.
Yeah, not in my world. Although that was a controversial piece. Some of the speakers today said they felt it was annoying or distracting when people were chatting while they were speaking. And so I did give them this tip saying you could consciously turn off chat for like a section of a program if you wanted people to focus on it. But overall, there was what we call
I never even looked.
Yeah, team not chat, right? Well, I told other people, if you don't like it, close the chat.
You just close. I mean, that's just,
you have a choice.
Well, like we partner with visionaries who live in abundance and who look at things as investments, not costs. So all visionaries would know that the chat is it creates more abundance and more investment. So
more
if you would limit,
that's
illogical to not want that. That's not again, that's someone who thinks that's the chat is a distraction, is someone who lives in scarcity. And no visionary, a true visionary never lives in scarcity ever.
Oh, that's a great piece. Well, Justin, with this as we kind of round out, well, speaking of landing the plane, if there's only one thing that people remember from this talk, what do you want that one thing to be?
Oh, I'm a dad who happens to be an entrepreneur, not an entrepreneur who happens to be a dad.
Oh, that's great. Well, I hope your kids earn the value for that. I recently got to share that my youngest son at the age of 22 trained 5 months for a bodybuilding contest. That's like not something I've ever done. And he came in there, he won 3 categories, and that's not, I mean, it's a proud parenting moment, but
beautiful.
All right. But at the time with the kids is what's really important. And I hope that's something that we got to hang around with rubbed off on them, but it was really extraordinary to see that resultant. And it's kind of like, actually, that kid came from me. It was unbelievable. So I appreciate that, Justin, that you as a parent are prioritizing your kids, and I know that they will benefit from that in multiple ways.
Well, one, thanks. And then 2, your son saw you sharpening your shield and mind with entrepreneurship. So he's like, I can just sharpen my body then. I mean, so it's the same. And then it takes 5 months of doing that. It doesn't just happen in 5 minutes. So it's the same thing.
Well, outstanding. Well, Justin's link is in there for his company. Make sure and click it. Learn a little bit more about his book. And Justin, thank you so much for joining us here on the Engaging Virtual Meetings podcast.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, we've just been talking and meeting with Justin Breen. We hope that you really enjoyed that. one of the pieces here too. You can get this podcast on engagingvirtualmeetings.online. We now have episodes. You're going to get an episode every Wednesday at 11 o'clock all the way now. We have them pre-queued up until next year. We have so much content. So thank you for great guests like Justin Breen. And by the way, if you want to be the next person to be interviewed here on the Engaging Virtual Meetings podcast, click the link, engagingvirtualmeetings.com/meet, select interview, find the best hour of your day, and you will be the next guest here on Engaging Virtual Meetings podcast. My name is John Chen, and I want to say thank you. Think about what he said, too. He's a dad who's an entrepreneur, not an entrepreneur who's a dad. If you have kids today, make sure and do a favor, call, text, hug them, do whatever it is, and connect with them today. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. This is John Chen, the author of the Amazon #1 hot new release, Engaging Virtual Meetings. I personally want to say thank you for listening to the Engaging Virtual Meetings podcast. It is my passion to help you eliminate bad virtual meetings. Make sure that you click subscribe so that you can get the latest episode of the Engaging Virtual Meetings podcast with all of the latest ideas. Hey, I want to meet you. If you want to talk about a virtual meeting challenge, or if you want to be the next guest on the Engaging Virtual Meetings podcast, just go to engagingvirtualmeetings.com/meet. That's engagingvirtualmeetings.com/meet, MEET, and find your best time to meet up. Thank you, and I look forward to engaging with you online.